What did you do? You killed him?
Me? What do you mean, me? It was you. You killed him.
I didn't kill anyone. When I got here, the body was already lying there.
What are you doing here? Nearby a corpse? Nearby a murder?
I'm looking for humans and killing them.
You? Very likely. I've got a funny feeling about you, but I can't be absolutely sure you did it.
That's a relief. And what were you doing here exactly?
What do you mean by that?
You were looting the body right here on the road.
What of it? A corpse doesn't need possessions.
I could drag you off to Rattay myself and let the bailiff decide.
All right, then. I did it. I didn't want to kill him. I just couldn't help myself. He walks around like a lord with his purse full, and I've got nothing to eat. You don't really have to tell anyone, do you? And you won't regret it.
I won't take coin to cover up a murder.
God bless.
Shit! Leave me be! Enough! You win! Had enough. Please, leave me be. For the love of God, I only stole a piece of bread. I was starving. No excuses. Hand it over. Here. You got the thrashing you deserved. I hope you've learned your lesson. Yes, sir.
You really let him go? Just like that? And did you get the loot back?
I did. I have it here.
Thank you. That thieving magpie. You can't trust anyone these days. Ahem. And just so you know, I'm no pinch purse. Here's a small reward.
Thanks.
What the hell? Jesus, look where you're going!
Father, when do you plan to return to St. James?
I beg your pardon. Why do you ask, my boy?
Your housekeeper, Agnes, is in Rattay and doesn't want to work for anyone else. She's waiting for your return.
So she survived. Thank the Lord. I prayed for her and all who suffered, but I'm not going back. Tell her I appreciate her concern, but to look out for herself now.
Eh? What?
Good day to you. What do you need?
Is there anything interesting going on here?
Well, there's two good-for-nothings from Scarlets who are a thorn in my side. It's one thing sympathizing with them after what happened, but it's another when they get mixed up in all kinds of mischief. I'll catch them red-handed sooner or later. When I do, they'll be sorry they crossed me.
Is there anything interesting going on here?
It's so peaceful, it worries me. God knows what it was.
Are you serious? Good day to you. Hear ye, good people. Such iniquities are happening in Holy Mother Church, as if she were not holy at all. We even have two popes. What is a devout believer to make of it? One pope in Rome, and another in Avignon. How many more holy fathers do we have?
God be with you.
Good day to you.
Any chance of some work?
Well, come to think, there is one rather delicate matter to attend to. A while ago, a holy man came by here. He said he'd come from the Holy Land, and he was selling various relics he'd collected on his travels to pay his way.
I see.
Well, I heard he had some fragments of a sacred sword that once belonged to the fabled Czech Queen of Sheba. But by the time he reached me, he had no pieces left of the sword. All he had was some dubious wares, splinters from our Lord's cross, thorns from the crown, nothing of interest to me.
And where did the pieces of the sword go?
He sold them off to swordsmiths and blacksmiths hereabouts. They just keep them lying around at home for good luck. If I had them, I'd forge them back into a sword. Can you even imagine what power it would command? If you could get me all the pieces of the sword, I'd repay you very handsomely.
Are you sure the Queen of Sheba's a Czech queen?
Who else would she be? Have you not heard of her? Our some priest. She's in the Bible.
Uh-huh. Isn't it a bit strange that some pilgrim would have something so valuable?
Are you suggesting he might have been lying? Well, people aren't to be trusted, but this is nothing to joke about. God would smite him in a flash if he made light of holy relics that way.
What kind of power did this sword have?
What do you think? It brought its bearer good luck in combat and protection from enemies.
Where can I find the powers?
Like I said, the smith hereabouts bought them from him. They say the largest piece is with the Ratai swordsmith. The bastard probably won't want to sell. But if you manage to swipe it somehow...
I could do with a sword like that. What if you sold it to me?
Well, everything has its price. But this one would be expensive. Getting hold of the bits is one thing. Forging them back together is quite another. That tinkerer from Ratai couldn't manage it.
Well, it does sound very interesting. I'll ask them and see what I can do.
Excellent. You'll see you won't regret it. I'll pay you well.
sun he hides behind the clouds. He keeps those bulls and his fire goes out.
Jesus Christ be praised.
I'm looking for pieces of a sword that a pilgrim from the Holy Land was selling. Would you happen to know anything about it?
I would. Of course I would.
Well?
It's a load of tripe. Only a fool would have given that trickster a single groschen, and I'm no fool. How about you?
But if he lied about that sort of stuff, it would be a terrible sin.
Don't be so gullible, lad. That bastard never saw the Holy Land. Unless it was in a fresco. No, that looks like stolen goods. I won't buy that.
I'd like to make use of the bathhouse's services.
And what is it you'd like?
I've heard you have nice girls here.
That can be arranged, but you'll pay in advance.
That's too much. It's not worth it to me.
As you wish.
Damn.
God be with you.
Are you in need of a helping hand, Master Butcher?
Helping hand? No. But I've got a problem with supplies.
I understand. The roads aren't safe these days.
No, that's not what I meant. Beef and pork, I can get plenty of. But the burgers here have a taste for aristocratic food. Maybe you can help me with that.
You want me to poach game?
Heaven forbid I would even suggest such a thing. No, you would have to get it by, other means.
I don't want to spoil your plans, but game doesn't grow on trees.
No, but if you happen to be walking in the woods and, you came across something, if you see what I mean.
All right. Let's say I'll take a walk in the woods and I'll come across something and bring it to you.
Excellent! I'm glad to see you speak my language. Get me a wild boar for now, so I see what you can do. And don't worry, you'll be well rewarded.
What is it?
Good day to you. God Almighty.
What? Shit, Henry!
Henry! Here!
What's he doing? Henry!
I'm glad to see you.
Matthew! Fritz! You're alive!
Of course we're alive.
You can't get rid of us that easily.
I'm almost surprised how happy I am to see the pair of you are all right.
We are now, but we barely made it.
Yeah, it was hard. Fritz ran like a little girl.
Really?
Bollocks! Bloody joker.
Tell us what happened to you.
They gave me a pretty good thrashing as well. It was only in Rat-Eye that I got back in my right mind.
You're not doing too well either, are you?
Right now, I'm a squire for Sir Radzig.
I see you've worked your way up.
And how are you two getting by?
It's shit.
You said it. We're still chopped off to bits. Owe the monastery a bundle. And there's no work here.
Not for anyone with more than half a brain, anyway.
Well, you two and work never got along. But don't tell me that they're not in need of carpenters. They're reconstructing the monastery.
They don't want us there.
And there's nothing else around here.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to know of anything?
It will really help us out right now.
Well, I can ask around, but I'm not promising anything.
Thanks, Henry.
We'll pay off the debt. Don't you worry.
And where would they hire you to?
Well, we were carpenters in the mines, so wherever they work with wood, I suppose. Forget about construction. After Skalitz, no one will be building for a long time. Just here in Sasau, and they don't want us here. The best chance we have is to work at a mill. People always have to eat. Ideally, we're looking for a job that pays a lot and doesn't require much work.
What other neighbours of ours made it?
Your hunker's in the monastery. That girl really helped us out. That's about all we know. When we ran for it, we helped Teresa. But who knows where she is now? We got separated.
I owe my life to Teresa. She hauled me unconscious to the mill in Ratai and nursed me back to health.
I'm glad she survived. Since you know her so well, why not try asking her if she knows about any work?
Is there somewhere I could sleep here?
Aye, there's room here. For how long?
Just the one night?
No problem. But you pay in advance.
Here you go.
You've got it all to yourself. No one will disturb you.
Where do I go to sleep?
On the upper floor of the inn. There are steps up to it outside. Your chamber is the one in the middle. God bless.
Be a bit more careful. Good day to you. What do you need?
Are there any problems around here I might be able to help with?
Well, it depends what you're willing to do. Of course, it's your own Skalitz fault need the most help. There's some of them at the monastery. I talked to Johanka a few times, and she's working her fingers to the bone, taking care of the injured ones there. I'm sure she'd welcome some good Samaritan who would lighten her load. And there's another thing. There was one troublemaker around here not long ago, but we dealt with him. He was selling some relics and he claimed were miraculous, but it was nothing but worthless trinkets. The villagers sent the bloody swindler packing so fast, you couldn't see his heels for dust. All the way to the Dechko, I believe. I reckon he won't last long there either. That's all I can think of.
just my luck to get stuck here with all the cripples. Meanwhile, Thomas and Pavel are probably playing... Another
Johanka?
be taking food out of our mouths.
Henry?
I'm glad to see you.
Me too. I heard that you're doing well.
Well, that depends.
You're alive. So you're doing well.
What's happening here? Oh my god. Philip and... they're all...
Yes. Where do you think the wounded ended up?
Actually, I had no idea.
Well, now you know. Me and Nicodemus have been trying to keep things under control since Skalitz was raised. Just the two of us.
So can I help at all?
Certainly. You can always use an extra pair of hands here. And it's been like that since the beginning.
I was in a bad way myself back then. They took me to Rattay unconscious, and I needed a healer. How is everyone holding up? What can I do?
Holding up? People here are dying, usually needlessly, and I can't do anything about it. We don't have enough food or space or anyone who's willing to help us.
Doesn't anyone help you with nursing these people? You've got scholars all around you.
Scholars, maybe, but they leave the healing up to God. Nicodemus is trying, but everything he knows is from his books.
Brother Nicodemus? Who's he?
He takes care of the injured. He knows something about herbs and a little about setting broken bones.
And is he good at it?
He tries, but he doesn't have much experience.
Doesn't the monastery care for them?
They give us some food for them and a place to sleep, but I wouldn't say they help exactly. More like they just tolerate us.
Do you have enough food?
Enough to survive, maybe, but convalescents need feeding up.
Maybe if I brought some meat, some game, that would strengthen them up.
That would be a great help.
Anything else you need?
Look around.
Well, it is a little crowded.
Crowded? I've had to leave some of the sick lying in the open air, even at night. And have you seen what they're lying on?
I'll try to negotiate better conditions with the monastery.
I tried that, out loud. They just nod their heads, but don't move a muscle.
Very well. And how are you doing? You're the only woman here, alone in the monastery.
Some of the monks speak to me, but other people act like I don't exist. Too bad the custodian isn't one of those.
Is the custodian causing you problems?
All the time. Apparently he has a wife somewhere, but that doesn't stop him. He's constantly strutting around in front of me.
And, what else?
What do you mean, what else? He's invited me to his home.
I could do something about it, if you liked.
No, I can deal with him. The last thing I need is you going around threatening people. It won't help me, and it definitely won't help the refugees.
Why is there a guard outside?
He's here because of me.
Because of you?
Yes. There was one time I just had enough of it all, of the way they treat us, and I almost slapped one of... But that doesn't matter.
What can you tell me about the custodian?
He's supposed to be in charge of all the guards and the security of the monastery. But really, he has a say in pretty much everything, including supplies. And that's why he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Look, Henry, I know I can speak harshly, but I'm at the end of my tether. Last week Bohuslav died. Maybe you knew him. And nobody even blinked an eye. We desperately need help.
I'll do whatever's in my power. Tell me more about the situation here. All right, that's all I need to know. He just needs to sleep. And who are you?
Brother Elias.
What do you do here?
What I can. I'm just trying to help the Skalitz locals as much as I can.
And what do you do here exactly?
Mainly, I help Brother Nicodemus. Occasionally, I keep watch at night in case someone takes a turn for the worse. Sometimes I have to hold a patient down, or fetch and carry things.
Do you know anything about healing?
A little. I can manage the basics, but without Brother Nicodemus, I'd never be able to deal with the more difficult cases.
Thank you. What do you do here?
What I can.
How long have you been helping here?
Since before the refugees arrived. It was much less crowded back then.
Thank you. You're the one who's in charge of the wounded.
Yes, I'm the infirmarius here. Time was I only had a few elderly monks who couldn't walk to take care of. Now I have this mess to deal with.
Monks so old they can't hold themselves up with their own legs.
Oh, if that were the only bodily function they could control. But I shouldn't talk like that. It's a blessing to live to such an age.
How are the wounded from Skalitz?
Some of them are well taken care of, but others are dying here needlessly. It's a good thing we have Johanka here. I'd never be able to manage on my own.
So you don't normally treat the wounded then?
Well, there were accidents, of course. A broken leg, someone who'd been kicked by a cow or bitten by a goat. But this... I've never dealt with the carnage of battle before.
If only it had been a battle. This was cold-blooded slaughter.
You were there? God be merciful to you and the dead and the wounded.
How can I help you?
Have you talked to Johanka?
I did.
Well, if you know something about it, then go and take a look. However, you don't look like you've studied the Hippocratic arts.
That's true. I'm the son of a blacksmith, but I have been around the wounded before. What do I do if I'm not sure of the treatment?
Come and speak to me. We'll see what we can do.
What do you think about the custodian?
Baron von Berg? Well, he does his job well. He keeps us safe here. And the last time I saw him was when I was rubbing ointment on his rash.
I heard he's been here a lot lately.
That's true. He comes to visit Johanka, but he's never here long, and he always leaves unsatisfied.
Thank you. Why are they so badly provided for? People are crammed in next to each other, and some have to sleep outside. That can't be good for them. It gets freezing here at night.
I can't afford anything more for them.
How is that possible? You're the infirmarius. You decide how all the money gets spent.
But I have no say in how much money I'm given. And because the abbot's away, it's still the same amount I had when I was taking care of a few old men.
Can't you do anything? Won't the others help?
Unfortunately not. The brothers in the cloister aren't much interested in the external world, and the custodian has enough on his plate with the chaos in the region. Besides, his main concern is the smooth running of the monastery.
And the local custodian? His crew has enough provisions.
I tried him, but it seems he had some disagreement with Johanka, and now he won't give us anything.
I'll try to talk to him. I can't believe your conscience lets you leave the Skalitz locals in such a state.
I know. I'm shamed. But my brothers believe it's all in God's hands now.
Even so, conditions here seem to me quite unchristian.
You're not the only one.
I'd like to learn something from you.
And what can you do?
A bit of everything.
Can you now? But to be more precise, do you understand herbs and medicinal plants?
To be honest, not really.
So what am I supposed to do with you? Well, never mind. At least you'll learn something new. Go to the herb garden, take a good look at what's growing there, and then pull up the weeds in the herbaceous beds. Is that clear?
Clear. I can get cracking.
Not so fast. Have I even told you what I consider a weed? It's dandelions, stinging nettles, and thistles. Those plants have their use, but they've no business growing among the euphrasia and the mentha, or anywhere else in that garden for that matter.
Where is it they're not supposed to grow?
Between the mint and the eyebright. Once you've cleared the garden of weeds, come back. And woe betide you if you pull up anything but weeds.
Don't worry, you've never had as good a gardener.
What is it? Good God, you look terrible.
The monastery wants you to pay for treatment. That doesn't sound right.
Leave it be, Howell.
If you say so. I want to get better at fist fighting.
Certainly.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right, but it'll cost you.
Maybe another time.